Hello, my name is Jamie Ding. I use she, her pronouns, and I am the Digital Publishing Fellow at Cal Poly San Luis Obispo. I'm coming to you today from Yakitutu Yakatuni, the northern Chumas tribe lands. And today we're trying to push against a little bit of those systems that grew from the colonization of these indigenous lands. And we're doing this by supporting non-traditional mediums for publishing scholarship. Digital being a materiality that does often create more inequity, especially in terms of surveillance and accessibility, as we've seen throughout the past year. This being said, we do believe that digital is important in being able to share scholarship that is so often contained within academic walls. So today we're going to do a little walkthrough of our poly publishing workflow, a publishing system that aims to provide accessibility, transparency, and sustainability while fitting into faculty promotion structures of our university. This project has developed from the Robert E. Kennedy Library's Creative Works Department, which supports alternative approaches to scholarship with commitment to amplify underrepresented topics and voices. It comes from a year of research into a variety of disciplines, methodologies, and so many Black, Indigenous, queer, feminist scholars, critical digital pedagogy, critical race theory, and all of the intersections of above, who I am indebted to for publishing scholarship throughout the trials and tribulations of an academic setting. And so how we are going to do this is through Gather. In case you are not familiar with gather.town, it is a virtual gathering place. And I want to be clear that it is not the website itself. It's not our work. You can see that work on the Poly Publishing website, polypublishing.calpoly.edu. Today, we're just doing a little walkthrough where you can choose what interests you and how you answer the questions that we pose. And so I've taken the time to build a little space, a few spaces, that you can walk through yourself. This is a rectangular room that has objects in a pixelated format with our poly publishing stamp in the middle of the room and a doorway on each side. Our space is limited to 25 people at a time, just to let you know. And a few basics about Gather: you can create a little avatar to join the space, and to move around, use the arrow keys. As you can see, the objects that you could interact with glow yellow, and to interact with an object, press X. So I'm going to walk through the space and show you the options and ideas that have shaped this workflow. And to come along this journey, I'm happy to introduce my colleague, Catherine.
Hi, good morning. My name's Catherine Trujillo, and I have the greatest pleasure and honor to work and co-create with Jamie Ding at Kennedy Library.
Thanks, Catherine. And so for you all, you're always welcome to wander around the path, create the path that you desire. I've also set up a few signposts that you can get a little more direction if you so choose. So welcome to Poly Publishing. Catherine, would you like to say a few words about the inspiration for this whole project?
Yeah, the inspiration for this work stemmed from our on-site faculty exhibit program, which highlights the interests and talents of faculty and creates an alternative to the traditional modes of presenting academic scholarship and research. Seeking to enhance publishing opportunities for faculty, we expanded into digital publishing approaches and systems that use inclusive and equitable practice to reimagine traditional scholarship at Cal Poly, while centering historically underrepresented identities, perspectives, and creativity.
Awesome. So you can see these four doors lead to these four parts of the workflow of publishing that we've identified. And of course, again, if you forget, there's stop signs or just general signs for you all to redirect yourselves. Also, I apologize from the start. The little pink bar saying Gather's lost connection. I think my computer just can't handle all of this running at once, but it won't be there if you visit. So let's go to prioritizing people first. Really thinking about the selection process of the content to be published. So how do we determine which projects are selected? If you look over here, we have a little gallery that emulates the faculty exhibit program and shows objects from past exhibits.
One of our earliest on-site faculty collaborations was Objects of Affection, an exhibit that drew from the personal papers of families featured in the Recollecting Project, an online archive and ethnic studies memory project featuring the people of California's Central Coast, and directed by Dr. Grace Ye, professor of ethnic studies at Cal Poly. Through stories, photographs, letters, songs, and performances, Objects of Affection shared and celebrated the voices of families from across the Central Coast. The exhibit showed the powerful ways people can forge rich community bonds and friendships in response to social and legal exclusion. Objects of Affection is the pilot and proof of concept for poly publishing.
You can see several different past exhibits, just examples of the scholarship of how we can determine what a publication look like. Because that is a question, right? What is a digital publication? Some people may see a dictionary definition or other non-scholarly examples, histories of digital humanities, and other inspirations. So the possibilities truly are endless. Then how do we determine what should be published? Over here, you can see we have seats for our selection committee, and in these seats are the legacies of our wonderful faculty and staff at Cal Poly who have pushed academic boundaries of publication, scholarship, and community. Mostly, I think we found it really important to create community. So we together will decide the project to invest our time and energy into. We come together to understand positionalities, to make sure that we center underrepresented voices, anti-racism, visual interests, and responsiveness to the community that the scholarship is about. This group, this co-opt jury, if you will select what project deserves resources, time, and energy devoted to it for the upcoming academic year. A group that will be made up of faculty who have previously been a part of this program and external jurors who are invested in such non-traditional publications. If you might fit this, please contact us, of course. This chair that I'm standing above is for you. So next, we're going to go to our next room. We're going to go to our digital collaboration side. As a different format from PDF papers that we are used to, digital scholarship often may be assumed to be quote unquote less work or easier than written material. However, the labor of the whole team of designers, illustrators, and creators is immense to put together something that shares digital scholarship. And so we aim to credit accordingly, really emphasizing the team effort in these projects. For example, this is one of our first student assistants, Isabella, who helped us immensely with starting this whole endeavor. Furthermore, traditional academic scholarship may often neglect to consider the racialization of the rhetoric, language, and politics of citation as written about by Dr. Nelson Flores, Tiffany King, Dr. Sophia Mojo Noble, Kathleen Absalon, and so many more. We encourage visual expressions that may not look like these norms. So platform, how to publish, right? It often comes up as a big concern, especially during this time of digital learning where the newest and shiniest and most marketable always seem to be the best. Often there's a correlation between the idea of something like an online exhibit and a specific platform such as Scalar, but we look at each project holistically, taking into account of collaboration, sustainability, that learning curve, privacy, and accessibility. Each of these private rooms is an example of a digital publishing tool.
And Timeline is a tool developed by Northwestern University Night Lab and is a collaborative instrument we use for the Central Coast Snapshots project, which you can view at centralcoastsnapshots.online. Snapshots is another creative works collaboration between faculty, staff, and students, and along with the community, that gathers stories that center perspectives of those historically marginalized on California's Central Coast during this critical COVID-19 moment. The interactive timeline puts in the order events that have shaped this project, including national influences, Central Coast events, and submitted stories from our community.
Thanks, Catherine. And we are going to go to our next room. So once you've created something together, assessment is also really important. What does assessment of visual documents look like? Our open peer review system brings people together to have a conversation. This review system is modeled after the open review discussion sessions in the California State University library system, an hour-long conversation framed by a casual, flexible rubric that focuses on criticality, usability, positionality, and accessibility.
This open review process has been transformative and a transparent system under the lens of critical librarianship and critical race theory through impactful conversations, resulting in more inclusive and engaged resources for our scholarly communities.
These methods of peer review are an expansion of the definition of scholarly assessment, as current modes of peer review often may be biased towards those who still hold the most power. As you see, this whole space is outdoors, a metaphor for the wide world of possible intellectual property. And instead of building on or creating boundaries, we practice this idea of cultivation, open cultivation. And you can read more about our ideas of open cultivations here at the Gardens. Additionally, to help with this idea of cultivating, we have our a tool for open documented review for the whole digital public. And we're currently working with our software engineering students to create this visual annotation tool coming at the end of this academic year, which we are so excited about.
And we love our students. We collaborate with students at every opportunity, from student interns, student assistants, to capstone classes, like Jamie mentioned. Students co-create with us, and as such are credited as authors, illustrators, researchers, designers, and photographers, just to name a few examples.
Another example is another one of our wonderful students, Hallie Fernandez Gotico, in the middle of creating, this is her wireframe, creating a digital publication titled Please Validate Me, an examination of the history of the idea and phrase of external validation at Cal Poly.
And as we move on in this process, we're going to go into publication and dissemination. After years of working and learning with faculty and students who were producing non-traditional modes of scholarship, I observed barriers to the dissemination of their scholarship. We began to envision an alternative system to demonstrate how scholarship can be transformed into digital publications that merge with current publishing systems on and off campus. At a polytechnic university where scholarship is already so varied, the validation of such scholarship can provide opportunities for non-traditional scholars, especially those voices who have been largely underrepresented in the past.
And so this is our published party room, our non-traditional publication party. We aim to make sure that our material is indexed and has the right identifiers so that it can be be found, right? But we also focus on the question, who is this scholarship for? This question is one of the prime questions at the beginning of this whole process, identifying, creating that reciprocal relationship, what we can offer to our communities. Because we ask this as an open access source while still measuring the boundaries of even that title. In the sense, how can we really measure impact of our resources? There are many tools now that can count those downloads, but impact itself is not sometimes quantifiable, right? Which should not be detrimental to a piece of scholarship's value. And we think that accessibility is important, and that means more than just downloading from an institutional repository, even if that is important in itself. As digital publications, poly-publishing scholarship is accessible beyond depending on physical and institutional boundaries. Clearly, throughout this whole process, the team has many decisions to make for each publication, and we strive through language, ideas, and topics, methodologies to publish scholarship that is not exclusive and can be accessed across communities. So, Catherine, are you ready to leave this party?
Yes, and a shout out to Jamie for all her research and criticality and creative vision for this work. It's been a pleasure.
Thanks, Catherine. So that is your, let me out. Is that your walkthrough? Feel free to leave your thoughts in this chat bar over here. You can see Catherine and I's confused chats as we too began to navigate gather.town in this presentation for today. Thank you for your time, and definitely explore more. There's more than what I have interacted. There's videos, websites. Over here in the corner, there's a to be completed visual bibliography on that bookshelf to emphasize and illustrate that citations, I think, can be more than a footnote. And perhaps there's something there in creating a visual citation to give more context of that footnote or that citation, right? Dr. Christine Smith and Dominique Garrett Scott recently came out with an article about Black women and the politics of citation in anthropology. Dr. Smith is the creator of Cite Black Women, and her ideas about visibility and citation has deeply influenced this work. Once other people come in, of course, then you are also available or can meet people who are interested in this project like yourself. And of course, our work is in progress at polypublishing.calpoly.edu. Feel free to visit that as well. Thank you all for being here, and I hope you take care.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Bye.